This is my 2012 Ford F-150 with the 5.0 liter V8. It is overdue for a coolant change. I'm not going to do a complete coolant flush where I remove the thermostat and just run some water through, flush everything out. No need for that. I'm just basically going to drain what I can, refill, and put it back in there. So very important, make sure you have the right coolant for your vehicle. Different manufacturers, different years even, use different kind. Now, I can be fine using a universal one that I will add to this, but pay the extra time and extra money to get the right one. This 2012 Ford F-150 uses an orange coolant, but that's not really what's important. What's important is that it's the organic acid technology coolant, or oat coolant. Now, I learned the hard way that some of these take the gold one, which is HOT, hybrid organic, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put about a gallon and a half. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a 50-50 mix on this and pour it in there. Take it out, pour the new stuff in, and you'll see this in this video. Very easy to do. And stay tuned to the very end, because there might be some overheating issues that you might run into that I'm going to show you how to get around and get your vehicle back on the road. The journey to doing this starts up here. You want to relieve the pressure. Now do this when it's cool. This thing has sat overnight. It's in the afternoon the next day. So I'm just going to open this so, provide some suction. And that's your antifreeze overflow. And then we're gonna slide down here, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna drain this, what to turn, and try to make it less messy. We're underneath the vehicle now, passenger side, front, and here's the frame of the vehicle. If you're guiding, follow my hand up here. I'm gonna try to wedge it up here. You see that pinkish reddish dial? Oh, trying to contort my arm this way. My finger's laying up against it. That is the valve to drain the radiator. And then you see that little spigot right underneath? There we go. That works better. I'm going to put a hose right here, because it always seems like the automakers always put this right above the frame. So when you start draining it, it just goes everywhere. So we're going to try to avoid that. I got a nice big rubber hose here. I'm going to slide it right over the spigot there. And then I'm going to kind of wedge this hose against the vehicle so that way it doesn't fall off. So when I open that, it's just going to pour straight down where I want it to. And I just noticed something about this. It may be hard to see on the camera. Right here, it's like you can put a flathead screwdriver. I'm going to try that first instead of just kind of wrenching on this. I'm going to put a flathead here and just twist it and crack it open and start draining. Now we're ready to refill. Make sure, like I did, I went under there, make sure the drain is completely shut off at the radiator. Make sure it's in there. And then now we're going to go and top this off. Why is it that I can have so many funnels and not find a one? Oh, this will work just fine. Cheap, and have you priced funnels lately? Kind of ridiculous. So try not to stab myself. And this will make a great funnel, this old container, because it's hard to spill anything. And it will fit that radiator overflow tank. Doesn't have to be perfect. And where I live, it's several miles away from the nearest store. So if I can just use what I got, that's even better. Yep, there you go. That works fine. Open the new stuff. Some of you may have a radiator you can pour right into, which is great. But this is what I have right here. See, no mess. It's just, I can't spill it. Can't make a mess. Now let's see where we're at. We can finish pouring all of this. Then I'll pour some water in here. Now I know I got about 7 quarts out of this. I put 4 quarts in. It's going to need more, but my reservoir is filled up all the way. I'm not going to add any more, but I can see bubbles coming out. If you come right over here, you can barely see it, I'm sure, but there's some bubbles coming out. So there's air in the system because I opened it. I'm going to crank this up, let the pump do its thing, get the air out, and then I'm going to add some more. And I'm going to leave the lid off so that air has somewhere to go. Been running a little bit, not very much, and it's definitely gone down. So I'm going to add some more, well, just water. Basically, I'm going to keep going to it till it stays filled. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. That should be pretty much everything I took out of it. I'm going to let it warm up, and I'm going to just let the air come out of there and check the level. So there you have it, just a simple coolant, exchange. Like I said, it wasn't a full flush, but this doesn't need it. Just need to drain what's in the radiator. You get about 1.5 gallons out of it, and then refill it. Put your cap back on after you've run it a bit, and you can see all the air has gone out. I put exactly what I took out of it, so it should be fine. Put the cap back on, and you are done. Whoa, hold on, not just yet. There's something that you might run into. Maybe you've already drained everything and did everything like I said you to do, and then you realize your vehicle starts overheating. And you kind of know something's up because if you drain 1.5 gallons of coolant and you only put in 1 gallon, I'm going to tell you, you have some air in the system, which is not uncommon. Now, this one didn't do it, but a lot of vehicles, maybe the engine's higher than the radiator or vice versa, and the air gets trapped into the system. So in every coolant system, you're going to have a thermostat that opens and closes so the temperature in the engine gets warmed up, and then it does good things. But when you drain the radiator and you don't remove the thermostat, which you don't have to, you might run into a problem, and here it is. You'll get in there, everything be flowing, everything be running, and then the temperature just keeps going up and up and up, and you're like, what's going on? You didn't do anything wrong. You got to get the air out of the system. So I don't know if you can see, but the highest point of your radiator is going to be your upper radiator hose, and it's going to drop down. And on this vehicle, this is where it goes into the engine. This is the thermostat housing. And so what will happen is after you've drained the coolant and you add sometimes air gets stuck here on the other side of the thermostat and you need to get it out. So a lot of times the thermostat will have like a plug, a threaded plug that you will back out, and it'll allow for the air to get out as the vehicle runs. And once it starts overflowing, you just put that plug back in, tighten it up, and you're good to go. But a lot of manufacturers don't do that for whatever reason. And it doesn't look like this one really has that. So actually, it has one that's already automatic. And this F-150 has one right on the top of the thermostat, and it automatically lets the air vent out to here. Brilliant, right? But a lot of vehicles don't. So what you would do, if it doesn't have that or a plug in there, turn the vehicle off, let it cool off. Then you grab your upper radiator hose and you just start squeezing. And what you're trying to do, you're trying to push the air out and get the fluid in there. Now, look at your overflow, and you can kind of hear it. Look on the side here. You're going to see where the water level change. And so what you're doing, you're pushing the air out. Go on the inside, and in order to make sure there's no air trapped in the heater core, you take I'm trying to get the lights to come back on. Okay, you take this dial or whatever you have, turn it all the way up, and turn your fan on and let it start doing its thing. And the reason is sometimes air gets trapped in there, and you know it because your temperature gauge will be up to operating temperature, but you'll still be blowing cold air, even though you got it turned all the way up. There's air trapped in the system. So you open this up, so it really opens that valve, and as the engine runs, it starts to get all of that air out of the vehicle, out of the heater core. Now, it might take a few minutes for this to happen. Like I said, turn your vehicle off, turn your heater core heater all the way on to extreme, as hot as it'll go. Squeeze this, and you'll notice that your water level will start dropping. Add some more coolant or water, whatever you're doing, and then keep squeezing. If you're doing it right, if it's really working, you start to feel this upper radiator hose start to warm up because now the coolant's going in there. Just know that a thermostat is not going to want to open if there's just air. That's not how it works. It has to come in contact with coolant. And if you just want coolant there or bad things happen. So do that. And once that happens, you'll notice your heater starts working, it starts blowing out hot air, and you're good to go. So, for Mailman Mechanic, you can do this. Like and subscribe, please. Show the love. See you at the mailbox.